Welcome, everybody. Bonjour tout le monde. Welcome to the, oh, I have the wrong sheet. Welcome to the extraordinary meeting of the Westmount Municipal Council meeting for Tuesday, April 22nd, 2025. Bienvenue aux séances extraordinaires du Conseil municipal de la Ville de Westmount pour mardi le 22 avril 2025. So as this is an extraordinary meeting, which we do sometimes when we have contracts that need to be passed, often in our very busy capital works times, we do an extra council meeting within the month. And when you have an extraordinary meeting, the only questions that we take are pertaining to the items on the agenda. So if we could try and adhere to those rules, that would be great. So we will move into the opening of the meeting and the adoption of the agenda. On va commencer avec ça. C'est Madame Bostock.
I move that the agenda of the Special Council sitting on April 22, 2025 be adopted.
Merci beaucoup. Appuyez. There's a question period at the end, and
the question period at the beginning. There's two.
it's an extraordinary meeting, so you can sit down.
Two periods now.
I don't have it in my agenda.
May I read to you bylaw 1336?
You can't just shout out from the audience, Mr. Breslaw.
How do I point out that section 13 says every council meeting includes two periods?
Madame la Greffière, that is for a regular council sitting, and I'm explaining that. Madame la Greffière, can we, from the gentleman shouting from the audience who has not identified his name?
John Breslaw, Red Avenue.
From my recollection from extraordinary meetings, we always have one question period. It's a very short agenda. Mr. Breslaw, please. So council meetings we have to have rules that follow them, and I know you like to shout from the audience, which you're doing now. So I will allow the city clerk to research this, but from my recollection, at all special council meetings, there is a question period at the end. It's a very short agenda that you can get through. I'm certain of it.
With respect, when I saw that there was no question period here on the agenda,
There is a question period at the end.
when I saw there was no question period at the beginning of the council meeting, I said, that's weird. And so I went to the bylaw 1336, which is the way that we here in Westmount run our council meetings. And it says very clearly under section 13, every council meeting includes two periods during which the persons present may address verbal questions to the mayor. And then you're quite correct. At the special meeting, the questions of persons must relate only to the items on the agenda.
So, Mr. Breslaw, would we like to, council, do you agree to Mr. Breslaw having a second question period, first question period, and a second question period for each item? To simplify things, because I have a feeling this will end so that is that.
Je vais juste prendre un moment, là, puisqu'on n'a pas la version codifiée du dernier règlement. Ce sera pas bien. Je vais vous conseiller pour l'instant, là, considérant qu'on n'a pas la version codifiée, d'y aller avec cette suggestion-là, puis on prendra les mesures pour la prochaine.
Madam Mayor, I'd like to know, my name is John Fretz, 473 Lansdowne. When you have a thing like awarding a contract for repairs, will you tell us exactly what you mean? Because you recall, we had the capital cost budget, and a week later in the Independent, you announced that you're also considering Sherbrooke Street, a restoration of the street, which hadn't been on the capital cost budget. And
Yes, it
so
was.
I'd like to know tonight, I mean, it's important to know where you're going before you.
So that was always in a part of our PTI projects, and Councillor Peart will answer that question.
Thank you, Mr. Fretz. As the mayor has indicated, the rehabilitation of Sherbrooke Street was always in the PTI. I'm sure if you even go to the website right now and you go to the GIS map, you'll be able to click on it and see that it was always on that on the map. It's on the 2025, the 2026, and the 2027, because it's being broken down into three segments. So it was planned, budgeted for, and has always appeared as one of our projects for the list.
And it will be the reconstruction of the sidewalks and
significant
repaving,
yeah.
significant.
Hydro work as well.
And there's very significant hydro work that's getting done at the corner of Victoria and Sherbrooke, which will take, that will take up a fair bit of time.
This will all be done in this segment,
Yes.
what you just said, because that's significantly more than just repairs, and that's what I wanted to clarify. Thank you very much.
This comprises Sherbrooke Street from the western border, just west of Claremont,
Yeah,
through to Grosvenor.
okay. And then, I mean, before the contract is awarded, does this include work on sidewalks, or is it just the street?
As the mayor just described, it will include works on the sidewalks, not reconstructions of the sidewalk, but repair works on the sidewalk, and a significant amount of hydro work.
Okay. And will you consider putting granite edges along the sidewalks so they don't look like the Cookie Monster has come out of somewhere and gnawed all those, especially at Sherbrooke and Victoria? Will you be doing things differently for this project?
It is not, the scope of the work is not a reconfiguration or a reimagining of the street or new materials. It is exactly a repair project and a rehabilitation project.
Okay.
So no new materials, no new configuration. It will appear as it does today, but newer.
Well, I wish that, you know, the other thing that comes to mind is normally you make a motion, and then you accord the budget later on. I mean, then you pass the motion, but you make a notice of motion earlier on. This is going straight to awarding a contract, right?
I believe
We went out
that's.
to tender and this is
Yeah,
the
yeah.
wording of it.
So as we do with all, we do not make a motion to start a specific project. The project appears on our PTI list, and it shows up in the same way as if we were to buy a transformer.
Yeah.
The transformer shows up as being ready for approved by council. So it's another item being approved, being put forth in a resolution being approved by council.
Because that doesn't really, I mean, I'm glad you're saying that because it's not really what's, it sounds like you're going right to contract here. Anyway, thank you very much. What?
We are going right to contract. This is what you will see later on today
Of the
is the
contract.
awarding of a contract for the rehabilitation of Sherbrooke from just west of Claremont, the western border, all the way to Grosvenor.
So that's going to be a done deal tonight. You're going to contract.
It is because it has appeared on our PTI list, which was revealed in the winter of 2024.
Well,
Thank you very much
Thank you.
for your question, Mr. Fretz. Are there any further questions, or we'll move to the rest of the agenda? Mr.
John
Breslau?
Breslau, Grosvenor Avenue. Just before I start, I've always treated you with respect, Madam Mayor, and the gentleman screaming from the floor does not actually treat me with the respect that I think
So
perhaps
I'm
I should
sorry
be.
if you felt
Now,
disrespected.
on the
It
question-
isn't, it's, sorry, I'm chairing the meeting. It is very important that we follow the rules of the council meeting so that things can be recorded and that we're respectful of everybody's time. So when you are shouting out from the seat, that is not something that we can tolerate, because imagine if every council meeting, everybody shouted out from their seat. That wouldn't be an effective way to run the council meeting. I have great respect for the dedication that you have to this city and your dedication to the democratic process.
Good, we see
So
we
now-
understand each other.
now we'll move
Wonderful.
to
My
your question.
Item 5, the amendment of a contract for pub 2023047. I assume, looking back at that, relates to the contract for the southeast sector that's currently being undertaken by the company Maclay. Could you,
The company LeMay, yes?
LeMay, could you give us some idea beforehand of what this particular amendment is about, please?
This is additional funds that are required for additional work, and so, as we hear feedback from the community, we have made some further changes that require different services from LeMay, and so this is addressing that.
So it's a relatively minor item?
To any of that? No? Okay.
It's relatively, the contract I seem to remember was about 147,000, so this is a relatively minor change?
Yes, I mean, I guess you could call it, yes.
10, 15, 20,000?
I think the actual amount is 19.
Okay.
19,545 and 75 cents, actually.
So this is basically a change to the contract in order to reflect much of the community involvement that has occurred between the two?
I think Councillor Peart would like to add on that.
So I don't know if we would answer with such specificity. What I will say is that the scope of work has changed slightly for the contractor, and they came back with a request for additional fees. This is this is the amount of additional fees that were negotiated and agreed to by council,
Thank you.
by the administration.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Any other questions? Are we going, I don't know if we need to go to second questions at this point? Well, we have a second question period, Mr. Fretz, if you'd like to ask it
Well,
then.
it'll be done, so there won't, I don't see the point of having a second question period if you're passing a contract which is going to affect all of Westmount.
Okay,
I mean,
Mr.
this is
Fretz, your question is?
My question is, are you going to impose guarantees on the contractor to finish the work within a specified amount of time? And I refer to the Claremont project. Every time I go by there, it looks like there's 2.5 people working. Are they ever going to finish it? But this is important. This is an artery for all the businesses, and I think you're kind of springing it on us. And
Oh, are you talking about the 500 Claremont, or are you talking
no,
about Sherbrooke
I'm
Street?
giving 500 Claremont as an example, but I'm talking about Sherbrooke Street right now. What you propose to do, does it have any completion guarantees, and what would they be? I mean, merchants and everybody will want to know how long it'll take. You'll get into the construction holiday. People will be away for the summer. We want to know. Everyone will want to know how long it's going to take, and what are the guarantees that you can get from a contractor that they come on time.
All of those details are within the contract that's being awarded tonight, and the merchants have all been met with so that they understand the implications of the construction that's going to be done. There's no good time to reconstruct Sherbrooke Street, but it absolutely needs to be done. There's a construction season. It's going to happen within that construction season, and that's why it's very important that it's awarded tonight, so that we can minimize the impact as best that we can on this project. And I think our estimated dates are May to August on this one. And it's not a complete closure of Sherbrooke Street. We'll obviously do it in phases, and we'll have one side versus the other side and things like that. We've worked with all of the restaurateurs. This obviously has a very significant impact on anyone who has a terrace. So how they build that terrace, how they put that out. So a lot of work has gone into this, and I know it feels like it's been sprung on you, but this was very much. This is one of the major projects this year that has been that was described in our PTI and is on our website in terms of the projects that we're doing. Want to add anything to that?
I will just add that access to the residences and shops will be maintained at all times. One lane of traffic will remain open for the duration of the works.
Each way.
Yes, in each direction, in each direction. And anything that requires a complete closure will be done overnight. So there is, as the mayor has indicated before, there has been and will continue to be tight communication between the administration and the people who are directly affected on the road. Westmount runs road construction projects quite well, and we have a pretty good track record of execution. So I have the highest confidence in the engineering team for managing this contract as they do other contracts in the city.
And this work is desperately needed.
Well,
state
sure,
of the-
there's a lot of, and so it includes doing the sewers and everything?
It does not.
No.
This
It does not?
It does not. No, this is not. This is a rehabilitation of the road. This is not a reconstruction.
So you're just scraping off a bit of asphalt and putting new asphalt down?
Now, we're also repairing.
There will be, so I don't know if you recall, but was it in 2023 when we did a resurfacing project on Claremont south of Sherbrooke Street and on other blocks in the city. What we did was we removed all of the asphalt and did punctual concrete repairs to the base where it was required. It's not a full reconstruction because a full reconstruction would be prohibitively expensive and would take quite a long time. So this is an aggressive repair project, and that's why it's being segmented in phases, 3 phases along the length of Sherbrooke, because this work is long overdue and it needs to be done.
So this is phase 1. So thank you, Mr. Fritz. Hopefully, you will enjoy the non-undulating road.
Okay.
All right.
This is a very simple one, and that is on item 4, the repair to Sherbrooke Street. Am I incorrect in...
For the record, you should state your name again, Mr. Breslov.
Okay, it hasn't changed. It's still John Breslin, and I'm still on Grosvenor. The
Well, for someone who
repair
might
on
just be...
Sherbrooke Street between Grosvenor and the city's western border is that not covered by agglomeration? I seem to remember that Sherbrooke Street was agglomeration responsibility. So will we be getting the money back from the agglomeration for that?
This work is the local responsibility.
The surface? Resurfacing?
This work that we are doing on Sherbrooke Street is Westmount's responsibility. Yeah.
Could you expand that a little bit? I thought the whole of Sherbrooke Street was a agglomeration.
It is an arterial road. It is our responsibility to maintain it.
But the cost of it should be maintained by the agglomeration. That's what...
No, this has been reviewed, but we can provide you with a written answer for that if you would like.
Yes, I would like, please.
Okay, thank you. Are there any further questions? The adoption of the agenda, we'll start that again. It would be great if the agglomeration paid for Sherbrooke Street. It would actually relieve a lot of funds, but it's not the case. Councillor Bostock.
Je propose que l'ordre du jour de la séance extraordinaire du Conseil du 22 avril 2025 soit adopté.
Thank you very much. Seconded by Councillor Gallery. All in favor? Carried. Item number 3, c'est l'entente intermunicipale avec la Ville de Montréal, travaux sur la rue GREENE. Approbation du budget. Ça, c'est conseiller Kez.
Thank you, Madame Mayor. We read the whereas. Whereas the City of Westmount has entered into an intermunicipal agreement with the City of Montreal, hereinafter Montreal, to proceed with the rehabilitation of a combined sewer main and the replacement of water connection under Green Avenue as part of the rehabilitation work of a water main undertaken by Montreal, Resolution Number 2025-02-30. Whereas the City of Westmount has signed an intermunicipal agreement with Montreal to define the roles and responsibilities of the parties, which is attached hereto in the form part hereof. Whereas Section 468 of the SCQ of Cities and Towns Act, CQL, LRC C-19 and Section 46 of the Act respecting the exercise of certain municipal powers in certain urban agglomerations. Whereas Montreal has issued a call for tenders, DRE 19A 21-P2 502-185-485-C, which covers all the work, namely the Montreal and Westmount portions. Whereas the financing of the work covered by the intermunicipal agreement is conditional upon the implementation of a loan provided by bylaw 1624, authorizing an expenditure and loan of $18,238,400 for various roadwork, water main, and sewer projects. I propose that council approve an expenditure of $3,601,024.84, including all applicable taxes, and $234,838.18, including the tax credit for the rehabilitation of the combined sewer main and the replacement of the water service connections under Green Avenue. That the carrying out the work for which the City of Westmount is responsible be conditional upon awarding the contract to this effect by resolution of the Municipal Council of Montreal. That the carrying of the work and its financing remain conditional upon the coming into force by Law 1624, authorizing an expenditure and loan of $18,238,400 for various roadwork, water main, and sewer projects, and the securing of the related financing. Charge this amount in accordance with financial information in the decision-making file number 4993.
Thank you very much, Councillor Kez. Seconder will be Councillor Bostock. Do you want to add any further comments on that? That will
Don't
also
have
be
too
a
much.
disruption.
There's going to be a lot of disruption, but we've been waiting to have this done. We've been waiting on Montreal to be ready because this is, as I said, in conjunction with Montreal. And all I do know is that the work, I don't know how long it will be, but it will take place anywhere between June 6th and November 30th of this year.
Yes, and this has been delayed.
For
This has been
years.
delayed a few years in a row. So hopefully, we
Yeah.
see the completion of that in 2025. So seconded by Councillor Bostock. All in favor? Carried. Numéro 4, c'est l'octroi d'un contrat PUB 2025-017, réfection de la rue Sherbrooke entre Grosvenor et la limite ouest de la ville. Ça, c'est conseiller Peart.
Merci, Madame la Mairesse. I propose that council awards a contract PUB-2025-017 for the repair of Sherbrooke Street between Grosvenor and the western limit of the city to Entreprise Ventec, Inc., at its bid price in the amount of $4,727,380.11, including tax credits. That council authorizes an expenditure of $5,274,155.05, including all applicable taxes for the reconstruction of Sherbrooke Street between Grosvenor and the city's western boundary, and that this, in accordance with the contractual documents of public tender PUB-2025-017, that the awarding of this contract and its financing remains conditional upon the coming in force of bylaw 1624, authorizing an expenditure and a loan of $18,238,400 for various roadwork, water main, and sewer projects, and the securing of the associated financing. I charge the total amount in accordance with the financial information, including decision-making file 5035.
Thank you very much. Councillor Peart, seconded by Councillor Gallery. Any further comments on this?
Just to say that despite it just being a rehabilitation, as you can see, these are very large numbers, and this is phase one of 3 phases, so you can probably extrapolate as to what it will cost to redo Sherbrooke from end to end, and this is why we have to go out for, this is why we can't finance it all. This is why we have to do it in phases, and why we were unable to finance this all in one shots with pay-as-you-go. These are big numbers, and they add up.
So seconded by Councillor Gallery. All in favor? Aye. Carried. Merci beaucoup. Numéro 5, c'est encore le conseiller Peart. Modification d'un contrat PUB 2023-047, service professionnel pour une élaboration d'un plan particulier urbanisme. On s'appelle ça un PPU. Sorry. Councillor Peart, that's you
Merci,
again.
Madame la mairesse. Je propose que le contrat accordé à l'AMECO Inc. pour des services professionnels d'élaboration d'un plan particulier d'urbanisme, le PPU, pour le secteur sud-est de Westmount, résolution numéro 2024-0108, soit modifié et augmenté à une somme maximale de 180 510 et 75 sous, taxes incluses, qu'une dépense additionnelle de 19 545 et 75 sous, taxes incluses, soit une somme de 17 847 et 88 sous, incluant les crédits des taxes, soit autorisée pour le dit contrat. Imputer cette dépense conformément aux informations financières inscrites au sommaire décisionnel numéro 2023-2127, 2024-2415 et 5062.
Merci beaucoup. Appuyé par Madame Bostock. Do you want to add any further comments to this?
Just a follow-up to an earlier comment, as this is a relatively, and I use relatively in terms of the original amount, a small amount, and Westmount does not, as opposed to maybe some other cities, we don't have contingencies. So when the contract is awarded, it's awarded to that number, and if there's an additional scope of work or additional ask for fees or change orders, those change orders or fee requests come back to council for an addition. This is one of those additions.
Yeah, so you see that in other contracts too, sometimes for almost seemingly strangely small amounts, but this is a more significant one. Okay, so that was seconded by Councillor Bostock. All in favor? Carried. Item number 6 is Councillor Aronson, and that is avis de motion règlement 1636 visant à corriger une disposition du règlement de zonage concernant la plantation et la protection des arbres et les surfaces végétales en cours latérale. Councillor Aronson.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. Elle a donné un avis de motion de l'intention de soumettre à une séance ultérieure de conseil le règlement 1636 intitulé oui, règlement visant à corriger une disposition du règlement de zonage concernant la plantation et la protection des arbres et les surfaces végétales en cours latéral. Avec ça, je dépose le projet du dit règlement.
Thank you very much. That does not require a vote.
No, but
That is just the notice of motion.
there's
Can I just give the object?
Oh, oui, tu peux dire l'objet.
Oui.
Je m'excuse.
So the bylaw 1636 is to correct one provision of the zoning bylaw regarding tree planting, tree protection, and vegetative surfaces inside yards, which aims to correct and replace in its French text the term service public with service d'utilité publique in order to align with the schema arrangement et développement de l'agglomération de Montréal.
Thank
It's correcting a single word.
Thank you very much. That does not require a vote. Item number 7 is again a notice of motion, permits and certificates bylaw 1634. That's Councillor Peart.
Merci, Madame la mairesse. I hereby give notice of motion to submit at a subsequent sitting of the council, bylaw 1634, entitled Permits and Certificates Bylaw. And I hereby table said draft bylaw.
And the object of the bylaw.
The object is the Permits and Certificates Bylaw is a bylaw that must be adopted by each municipality under the Act respecting land use planning and development. This new bylaw aims to repeal and replace the current bylaw, Bylaw 1300. The purpose of this change is to define the roles, powers, and responsibilities of permit applicants, and the administration.
Thank you very much. Item number 8, notice of motion, bylaw 1637 concerning the supplemental plan for the officers and the employees of the city of Westmount is going to be Councillor Kez.
Merci, Madame Maire. Je donne avis de motion de l'intention de soumettre à une séance ultérieure de conseil le règlement 1637 intitulé « Le règlement concernant le régime supplémentaire de retraite pour les fonctionnaires et les employés de la ville de Westmount ». I'm tabling the said bylaw. The object of this bylaw concerning the supplemental plan for the officers and employees of the City of Westmount aims to establish a supplementary pension plan to ensure internal equality for employees whose income exceeds the maximum provided for the Income Tax Act.
Thank you very much. This also doesn't require a vote. And with that, that concludes the extraordinary council meeting. So if there are any further questions, we will take those now, and then we will adjourn the meeting. Related to the items that were on the agenda.
Good evening, John Fretz. So I'd like to know can we see a copy of the contract for number 4? Is it on?
The Sherbrooke Street contract?
Yeah.
You would have to go through Madame la greffière.
Oui, vous pouvez faire une demande en vertu de l'accès à l'information.
Est-ce qu'il faut faire ça par access to information?
Yes.
Okay, so access to information. The other thing, do you put guarantees in? I mean, do you put penalties into a contract like this if work isn't being done within a specified amount of time?
I can't speak to the specific details of this contract in terms of penalties.
And do they guarantee the work for let's say, X number of years?
Yes, typically,
do?
yes. But I don't have all the details of the guarantee and all of that in front of me.
No, but I mean, in other words, if it starts cracking, if the surface starts cracking within 2 or 3 years, would you consider that
A defect?
yeah,
I will leave, our engineering team is very good at following up on those things.
okay,
Thank you for your
Well-
question.
thank you. I don't understand why it's so hard to get information. I mean, you spring this on us, and I will use that word correctly, and we just don't know what's going on. I mean, it's obviously not repairs. It has to do with something more than just repairs. It's some sort of renovation or whatever. And secondly, I do concur with Mr. Breslaw that the stuff on Sherbrooke should be covered in some respect by the city because it is a highway. And I think we've had discussion on this before, and it seems like we're maybe just shrugging this off. I don't know.
Thank you for your commentary. Next question?
Hi. I'm wondering, with the...
Just your name for
Helen
the
Malkin.
record.
Helen Malkin.
Welcome.
Malkin, M-A-L-K-I-N.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Bienvenue.
With the amendment for the contract for the professional services for LeMay, are you expecting to still be voting on the adoption of the proposal in August as previously scheduled?
We're hoping to be able to stick to our timeline and have heard from many in the community, including yourself.
Yeah.
We're hoping to be able to stick to that timeline.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
John Breslaw, Grosvenor Avenue. When we had the demerger, the City of Westmount hired me to actually look at the question of expropriation at that time of the demerger. And at that time, I had the opportunity to look at the Demerger Act in detail, along with the Constitution of the Ville de Montréal, etc. And one of the things that was very clear was the arterial road system, which includes Sherbrooke, is under the jurisdiction of the agglomeration. And one of the things that comes very clear from Article 23 of that Act is, and I quote, "The central municipality's exclusive jurisdiction over the thoroughfares identified covers road maintenance and management." So my understanding of that was very, very clear. Agglomeration is responsible for the maintenance of the arterial roadways, including resurfacing. And my strong advice would be that it's a significant amount, 4 or 5 million. And that surely is incumbent on council to actually ensure that my statement might well be correct.
Your comments are noted. We are very aware of who pays for what in terms of, as you noted tonight, there was a joint contract with, on Green Avenue where the water main is. Your comments are noted.
So you will be sending me the relevant articles to show that Article 23 of that Act does not apply.
We will respond to you in writing to your question, Mr. Breslaw.
Vous pouvez me transmettre votre question par écrit, puis on pourra y faire suite.
OK. Envoie mon email, mon courrier.
No, you send me the question, the written question, and I will make sure that we send you an answer back.
OK, you want.
Next question.
Good evening. My name is André Jude. With respect to item number 5, correct me if I'm wrong, the PPU in question is that which concerns the area roughly southeast of the city of Westmount, Atwater, bounded by St. Catherine, et cetera. And
The Maisonneuve to Dorchester.
am I
yeah.
correct in assuming that what you've just voted on does not substantively change the scope of work that has been described in the public documents that the city of Westmount has posted on its website? Am I correct
wanna
in
take
saying
that?
that?
So just to clarify, the amendment is to the contract
Right?
to the consultants. That's it.
Okay. Very good. Thank you very much.
Thank you. And with that, I think that, oh, no.
One last question, if I may. Julia Gersovitz, I'd like to know if the clerk has rendered her, has done her research and has an answer as to whether there should be 2 question periods or 1.
Non, pas pour l'instant.
How will that be communicated to the public?
If there's 2 question periods for an extraordinary meeting,
Well, I'm fascinated by the situation,
by the process,
by both.
we could put it on our website.
Okay.
In the past, we have had, from what I recall, when we have an extraordinary meeting, we have 1 question period. But if that's not the case, then we can certainly remedy it. And as we did tonight, we did 2 question periods.
I understand that you did a King Solomon-like decision and gave 2 question periods, but I think it would be of interest to citizens to know whether or not in the next time there's an extraordinary meeting, there will be 2 question periods.
Yep.
Thanks very much.
Are there any further questions? If not, we will adjourn the meeting. Thank you. The meeting is adjourned.